Today is October 26th and I have 5 days to make my Halloween costume, which is usually the typical amount of time I give myself to make my costume. But I actually feel prepared this time. I still have to order a couple things online, but they're supposed to come tomorrow, so it'll be okay. I do not expect to get this all done in one day, so this is day one of working on my Halloween costume. I love the artist Yaelokre. I love their illustration, I love their music. It's the kind of music that makes you like want to play the banjo or like run through a field. That's the best way I can describe their music. And they kind of have this whole storyline in these original characters, and a lot of people make their own original characters based on this illustration style. People actually make so many original characters in this style that there is a Pic Crew icon creator just for this particular style. And yes, I did use it in the designing process of this costume. So I am going to be making my own original Yaelokre character for my Halloween costume, and I'm super excited about it. So first I had to decide on an animal, which was actually kind of difficult because I originally wanted to be a squirrel because I think they're just so cute. I love squirrels so much. I didn't think the mask would really look good for a squirrel. I don't know, there wasn't too many defining features of a squirrel that you wouldn't just think it is like a cat, so I went in a different direction. I wanted to do something with horns, I knew that, so I sketched out like a jackalope, but I didn't really vibe with the rabbit ears. I don't know why, I didn't like them. So I decided on a deer. I think a deer is cute. It has cute little horns and the ears don't go straight up. They kind of go off to the side, which I kind of liked a little bit more. So we're going to do a deer mask. I ordered some false fur online, and we're gonna kind of just glue it on there and see how it goes. I did some sketching for this costume as well. I always start with sketching anything in my sketchbook just to get my ideas together, get my thoughts down on the page. I came up with a couple designs based on the canon character's outfit, but the Pic Crew icon creator actually helped me a lot with just seeing what worked together, just so I didn't have to sketch out so many different outfits, because it does take a little bit of time. All right, the sleeves are being rolled up. The hair will probably be put back as well, and we're gonna get started. So I've collected a few things for this costume, and I am very excited to show you. This I already had. This is one of my favorite shirts. It's gonna be the undershirt for underneath the cloak. I got these leggings from the thrift store that I'm going to rip up a little bit, just give them a bit of distress. I got these masks online, and before you say anything, I know it's not a deer. I'm aware of this. I can very easily tell that it's a cat. However, I just needed a animal face of some kind. So I'm gonna cut the ears off of this one, and I'm gonna use rolls that I have saved up to make some new ears, and I might use a paper towel roll and like curl it up real tight to make the horns. We got some extra hot glue because you can never have enough hot glue. I got this felt to cover the deer horns with. I got this belt that is really nice that I'm going to, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out a bunch of scraps of these fabrics and I'm gonna sew them onto the belt. So when you put the belt on, it'll make like a nice little skirt. And if I don't like the way like the belt looks, I also got this like cool colored scarf to just kind of tie around the waist and kind of make it look complete. Like it's not like half finished. Because I think the belt with all the stitching in it is gonna look a little bit half finished. So I'm gonna tie this around my waist over top of the belt just so it kind of completes it. I also grabbed this nice little bag of buttons. It looks like there's like a mix of wood and plastic ones in here. So I just really like the colors, and some of them have like nice little designs on them. So I'm gonna put a couple on the cloak part. And finally, I got these massive, they're not really massive curtains. They're like the same size as the curtains that I have up right now, but they're just like huge pieces of fabric that I'm going to basically, like I said, cut a circle in to make a cloak. I think I might fold in the edge of the fabric and sew it just so it has, it doesn't just have like a cut line of a lip on the outside. So I guess I'm gonna have to add on maybe an extra inch of my measurements to take that into account. There goes my softbox again. Guys, I'm slowly getting more professional recording equipment. The camera was most important first. We'll figure out the lighting later. So I'm gonna start with the full length of the cloak, the full diameter being 50 inches. I think it's gonna be a bit longer than I actually want it, but I always try to start a little bit bigger because you can always cut down some more, but you can't add any more on. And I did buy both of the curtains, so I think I have like 4 separate attempts. I can't see why the first one would go wrong, but at least I have room to mess up. I'm gonna start by drawing a 52-inch line this way and a 52-inch line this way. And then we're gonna draw a circle. Guys, it's literally just under 52 inches across. It's 50 inches across. We're gonna go with 50 inches and we'll take it from there. All right, I'm gonna take this onto the floor and extend these diagonal lines, and then I'm going to basically just draw a big circle, and I will be back to cut it out. I don't know how well you can see the pencil lines, but I basically sketched out the whole circle, I sketched out an inner circle, and I'm just gonna film cutting it down here because I have so much more space and it's gonna be so much easier. So let's take a bit of a gander at how big this thing actually is. I think the neck is like exactly where I want it. I should have made it a 9-inch hole so I could tuck more under and kind of sew it up. I don't know about the length. We're gonna make it a little bit, a wee bit shorter. So I cut it down another 3 inches on either side all the way around, and I'm gonna fold in about 1 inch. So next comes the bit of the tedious part, which is sewing. 2 problems. I don't have a sewing machine, nor do I know how to use one yet. We will get there in our crafting progression, but for now I am going to just hand sew this. I hope it doesn't take too long. I'm gonna sew the inner circle first, and I really hope that it doesn't make it like too big for my shoulders. I'm kind of nervous about that. And this inner one, I think I'm actually going to stitch with purple thread because I think it'll give it like just a little pop of color. The bottom one, I'm going to stitch with brown thread, and I'm kind of nervous to do this, but I think I'm going to cut along one of these lines so I can put buttons down one side of it. All right, it has been done. It is split. All right, I will meet you on the other side of the sewing needle. So I've completed the sewing on the front part and on the collared part, and I really love how it looks. I love the little accent of purple. I like how the brown looks against this tan color. I think they work pretty well together as well, the 2 colors. Welcome to the second day of making my Yaelokre costume. The sleeves are already rolled up and we are ready to go. I'm gonna spend most of the time today just stitching the bottom part of this cloak. Without further ado, we are going to get sewing once again. I got these great sewing needles from my dad that are so many different sizes. And the head of the needle, if you can see that, I don't know if you can, is actually like a little hook. So you don't have to thread the string through the needle like this. You can just hook it on. And it came in this beautiful little wooden case. I love it so much. It almost looks like a tiny little cigar, but I love it. So I got about 2/3 of the bottom sewing done, and it's going pretty well. I kind of messed up a little bit in this first part, but I figured it out towards the end of that section. And honestly, because I know what I'm like doing now and the best way to do it, I think the last third is gonna go pretty quickly. I also still have to put buttons on this. And then I have to figure out how to get the pencil off. I tried using just a regular eraser and it works pretty good to actually get the pencil off, but it kind of leaves it like dirty looking, so we'll figure it out. So we finished sewing the bottom seam of our cloak, and I think it turned out really nice. It's a little bit like the spacing is a little uneven in some places. Like this stitch is just like way too far down for some reason. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good for my first time making something like this. All you have to do is try, right? If you fail, there's another curtain. I also really like the way that doing the seam at the bottom kind of made this fall, because it really like, what's it called? It makes the pleats really nice. It pleats it quite nicely. So the next thing that we are going to tackle is we are going to put some buttons down the one side of it. All right, let's get back to our crafting table. There are so many buttons to choose from. All right, what is going to look the best? This one looks like a little owl. Just like the face of a little owl. There's also quite a few like Mickey Mouse buttons, which is strange. So this is an option. This is one pattern of button that is in this pack. They're kind of small though. I kind of wanted these buttons to be a little bit bigger on here, but this is definitely a good first option. We could also go with this, all different buttons. These ones are all the bigger ones. All right, the lighter color I'm kind of vibing with a little bit, but do I like this more than these buttons, the first choice? I do also just like this one. I feel like I kind of just want to use this one, even if I choose option 1, just because I think this is a cool button. I need some help on deciding something. All right, with a bit of help from Noah, I think this is what we are going to do. I'm gonna have the light buttons and the dark buttons and this funky button that I really like, and they're just gonna alternate. The buttons are actually going to go on this side of the fabric though, so 1 second. All right, that's more accurate to how it will actually be. So I'm just gonna mark where these buttons are gonna be with a Sharpie. We're gonna go from there because I've never sewn buttons onto something accurately before. I have the buttons all sewn onto the cloak, and I also drew some slits for the buttons to go through that I'm gonna cut. All right, there we go. I think we should go try this bad boy on. I'm so excited to see how this looks. So this is the shirt that I'm gonna be wearing for the outfit, for the costume. There we go. This is amazing. I love this so much. I really like the buttons that I decided to go with. I think they look really cute. I'm going to unironically wear this after Halloween as well. So once we get the pencil lead off of here, this part of the costume is complete, and we're gonna move on to the skirt. Frilly, fun skirt, which I'm very excited about. I'm excited for like the whole costume, can you tell? These are the leggings that we are going to be wearing for the costume as well. And I wanted to do this part first because I need to measure the belt, but also if I was gonna put these on, I might as well just draw on where I'm going to rip these. Distress them in some way. So we have this green kind of canvas belt, and it has this type of a buckle. Like that? Is that how it works? I mean, it's on. I mean, this works pretty good, and this is actually sitting exactly where I want it to be sitting. So again, we're gonna attach all the fabric onto here, all the strips of fabric that we're gonna cut. Just sew it onto here, and then I have a colorful scarf that I'm gonna tie around my waist just to kind of hide the belt a little bit. So I have a few different fabrics here that we are going to use to make this skirt, and we only need to actually sew it onto that much of the belt, so just a little bit over half of the belt. Oh, and I didn't show you guys this the other day, I forgot, but my sewing needle, the hook head of it just snapped off while I was trying to thread it. I think as I thread it by like hooking it on, and then not all the strings go in, so I kind of like use tension and then push on the needle so it like hooks onto it, and it just snapped. It's just a pin now. Again, you learn from your mistakes, but there's still consequences. I think we're gonna aim for about 8-inch pieces of cloth, maybe 10 inches in the back. I'm not sure yet. And then I think in the back, I'm just going to put like maybe just one big like triangular piece just to fill the back out a little bit and just have a solid base of where to start. And I think I want to use this fabric for that. All right, let's see what we're working with here. All right, I like it, I like it. All right, we got our first little patch. I think I'm gonna cut this a little bit into a triangle at the bottom. There we go, that's pretty good. I'm gonna lay each of these out where I want them on the belt first before I actually sew them down, because I think that is a smart decision. All right, let's see what this piece of fabric looks like. I think this one looks very grandma chic, but like not really in a good way, but in a good way that we're gonna use it for this costume because it's gonna blend in. I'm not gonna use the blue part because I really wanna go for like a warm tone on this costume. I say that after I sew purple into the cloak. Now, I do have the capability of making this symmetrical. Am I going to? I honestly don't know. Maybe I'll make it symmetrical, like put the same pieces on both sides, and then I'll just add a couple extra ones on top to make it look a little asymmetrical. Just so the skirt is actually balanced, but it still has a little bit of spontaneity to it, you know? Well, let's get a bit of our brown fabric in here. I think this is like a placemat. Before I actually continue this, I want to see how long these pieces actually are in, like, I know I can't actually put it on yet because it's not sewed down, but I want to see what the length of them is going to be because I feel like these need to be a little bit longer. I'm actually going to pin them on and we'll see how it goes. Okay, yeah, so these are actually all too short. I'm gonna keep this brown piece, but I'm gonna recut these 3 pieces. I'm probably gonna like double the length of these because they only like half cover my butt and I would like full coverage, please. All right, we're basically back to where we had started, but just a little bit better this time. I'm gonna pin this once again and go see what it looks like before I continue, because I really want to get this base length right so the rest of the skirt actually is correct. All right, this is so much better. I don't know if you can really see the length, but this is so much better. All right, we are going to continue with this. Do not need these pins in here right now because I am going to stab myself. Now let's get a little bit more of this material going at the front. Very nice, we like it. Let's get a little bit of this green fabric in there. Ooh, this has a little bit of a frill at the bottom and I think we're gonna use that and make these a little bit shorter actually to get some nice layering there. Yeah, that's good. Awesome. I love how this is looking so far. I'm gonna do some more strips of this dark brown in there now. Can I layer it like that? Or layer it like this? Or layer it like this? Yeah, that's the one. And I really like the triangles at the bottom, so we're gonna do that. I've finished cutting out all of the pieces of fabric, and now I'm gonna pin them up and just take a look how it looks, make sure I like the length and everything, and then we're gonna sew it up. And it's gonna be amazing. I think I really got the amount of like symmetry, but also a little bit of randomness that I wanted with these pieces of fabric. So I tried this on. I love how it all looks. The only thing that I added was another small strip of brown to this side just to kind of even out the front a bit more. And I think without further ado, we are going to start sewing. I'll be back to show you the final reveal. All right, we're gonna try the skirt on and like the scarf belt thing, and we're also gonna put the cloak on. So the outfit so far. I have little bits of thread all over me now just from cutting so much fabric. I also ripped up the leggings as well. All right, let's get this skirt on. I did add a few extra panels of fabric just to fill it out a little bit more. I didn't want there to be like any split or gap of like my tights showing. So I might need to put something else like right here because there's a little bit showing. Pretty nice, pretty nice. We're gonna put this scarf on around the waist just to see how it looks. I think we're gonna tie it off to the side probably. Guys, I think this looks pretty sick. This looks so good. All right, let's put the cloak on now. Almost for the complete look. The nice thing about this is though, I don't have to undo the buttons to put it on. So the cloak is still a little bit long to kind of see the full effect of the skirt, but I still really like it. I think it looks really good. And also without the cloak, the outfit works really well as well. I got these super long arm warmers that are supposed to come between the 28th and the 31st, so I really hope they get here before Halloween. But with those, even if I'm not wearing the cloak, I'll still have like something on my arms. I feel like it'll still look like a complete costume. This skirt took so much less time than this thing did, and like it looks like so much more than this does. I love this. I feel so cool in this. I'm gonna call it a day, and I will see you again tomorrow to start making our mask. We're gonna work on these masks that I showed you before. And yes, again, I know they're cat masks, but we're gonna alter them a little bit. So I'm gonna chop the ears off of these, and then out of these little cardboard tubes, I'm gonna make some ears that kind of look more like a deer. And then from this long one, I'm gonna make some really simple antlers. And then I have some false fur coming in the mail today, and hopefully it arrives on time to actually complete this. All right, let's get started. This is what happens when you run out of time to do things, right? Honestly, probably would have looked like this even if I was not scrambling at the end to get the costume finished. Something that I've learned about myself in the past year is that I am the absolute queen of underestimating how long things are actually going to take me, especially when it comes to any arts and crafts project. I think we started the masks with about 4 hours before we had to depart for our friend's house for the Halloween party that we were going to. We did make the masks the day before Halloween, so there was a little bit of potential to finish them before Halloween night, but I didn't really want to bring all of the mess into my friend's home. I need to keep my chaotic craft energy contained to my own home, so everyone will be safe. So we ended up leaving about 2 hours after we actually wanted to leave to get to our friend's house. But honestly, I think it was worth it because the masks turned out really good. So without further ado, the finishing piece to my Yaelokre costume, the mask. And I think I did pretty good on this. I really like that it's like a half mask, it's not like full face, but it kind of takes up my whole face. And I had to tie it at the back there like that because Not because the strap was too big, but because the mask itself was too heavy. For most of the night, I wore the mask like this because I just think it looked a little cooler. Then I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not a furry. However, I do like the idea of dressing up and using any kind of mask, whether it be an animal or a spirit or anything, just to ward off the evil spirits of this holiday. The original idea behind it is that you would scare away all of the evil that tries to seep in at this time of year. So I mean, I don't know, if I saw somebody coming out of the woods like this, I'd be pretty scared. So I think with a little bit of spook factor was achieved. And even though this was a little bit rushed, it turned out exactly how I wanted it. I did get a few trick-or-treaters that asked me why I was a reindeer for Halloween. In the moment, I said, oh, because deer are my favorite animal. So without further ado, we're going to have the full costume reveal.